Imagine paying more for a college degree than a luxury car. Or worse, graduating with a piece of paper and a mountain of debt that haunts you for decades. Sounds insane, right? But in America, it's the norm. The question is, why? Welcome to a deep dive into one of the most pressing financial crises in America today: the cost of higher education. If you're a student, parent, or someone who's ever questioned whether a $100,000 education is worth it, you're in the right place. Because what used to be the path to prosperity has now become a financial trap for millions. In this video, we'll unpack why college is so expensive, who's profiting from this system, what it means for your future, and how to navigate it with your financial sanity intact. Imagine a teenager, 17 years old, sitting at a kitchen table in rural Indiana. Her name is Emily. She's the first in her family to apply to college. Her parents didn't go. Her father works the night shift at a packaging plant. Her mother cleans houses. They don't have savings, just dreams. And Emily is smart, driven. She's been told since elementary school that college is her way out. Her acceptance letters arrive. She's in 4 colleges, but the price tags knock the wind out of her. Even the local state school costs nearly $100,000 for a 4-year degree, after factoring in housing, books, and living expenses. One private school, which offered a scholarship, still leaves her with $35,000 a year to cover. She applies for FAFSA. She gets a mix of Pell Grants and federal loans, but it's not enough. Her parents consider co-signing private loans. They hesitate, afraid of sinking themselves deeper into a financial hole. Still, they say yes, because what's the alternative? Emily isn't an exception, she's the rule. And here's what most Americans don't realize. The sticker price of college is not a reflection of value. It's a reflection of a system built on debt. Universities now operate like corporations. They invest in branding, marketing, alumni fundraising teams, climbing walls, gourmet dining halls, and luxury dorms that look more like upscale apartments than places of learning. It's all meant to justify tuition hikes and attract more full-paying students, particularly international and out-of-state enrollees who bring in more revenue. But underneath the surface, the core mission of education has been blurred by the business of education. In fact, administrative bloat is one of the biggest cost drivers in higher ed. Since the 1980s, the number of non-instructional employees at colleges has skyrocketed. For every tenured professor hired, several more administrative staff are added: marketing officers, compliance experts, diversity consultants, career counselors, IT specialists. Some of these roles are valuable, but many universities are now top-heavy, with layers of management that rival Fortune 500 companies. And someone has to pay for that. That someone is Emily, or Jamal in Baltimore, or Sophia in Phoenix, or Carlos in Los Angeles. Now let's look at the debt they're signing up for. In 2003, total student debt in the US stood at around $250 billion. 2 decades later, it's ballooned past $1.7 trillion. That's more than the GDP of Canada. It's more than all US credit card debt combined. And it's not just a line item, it's a generational anchor. Young Americans enter adulthood already behind. The moment they graduate, they owe. And in many cases, the interest starts accumulating while they're still in school. The grace period after graduation is short, 6 months typically. After that, the bills begin. And for borrowers on income-driven repayment plans, the debt can linger for 20 to 25 years, meaning some are paying until they're 50. Worse, many never finish their degrees. Nearly 40% of students who start college don't graduate within 6 years. But they still carry debt, no degree, no higher salary, just the financial baggage. Now let's talk about return on investment, ROI. A degree from Stanford or MIT might yield high-paying job offers in Silicon Valley. But what about someone who graduates from a lesser-known private university with a communications degree? Or a for-profit college that promised career training and delivered little more than a diploma mill experience? ROI varies wildly. It's true that college grads still earn more on average than non-grads, but that gap is narrowing. And in many cases, vocational training or apprenticeships yield faster, more stable returns. Electricians, welders, dental hygienists, these are careers that don't require a 4-year degree, and often come with lower debt and quicker job placement. So why does the myth persist? Why do parents still push 4-year college as the default? Because they were sold the dream too. Boomers and Gen Xers remember an era when tuition was low, wages were rising, and a degree guaranteed upward mobility. But the economic landscape has changed dramatically. Real wages have stagnated. Housing costs have soared. Job markets have become more volatile and globalized. College no longer guarantees prosperity. It guarantees a bill. The system preys on hope. Let's be honest, this isn't just about money. It's about identity. In America, education is tied to self-worth, to status, to the promise that you're going somewhere. Not going to college? You're seen as settling or giving up. It's a cultural mindset that pressures millions into pursuing an increasingly unaffordable dream. But cracks are forming in that mindset. In Gen Z, skepticism is rising. TikTok is flooded with creators questioning the value of a degree. Reddit is filled with forums on how to make 6 figures without college. Trade schools are seeing record applications. Boot camps in coding, data science, and cybersecurity offer alternative paths with lower costs and quicker payoffs. High school seniors are asking harder questions, not about which college to attend, but whether they should go at all. And what about the elite schools? Let's pull the curtain back. Harvard, Yale, Princeton. These institutions sit on endowments worth billions. Harvard's endowment alone surpasses $50 billion. They could make tuition free for every student and still operate. Yet they don't. Because prestige is the product, exclusivity is the brand. They're not just selling education. They're selling access to a network, a legacy, a pipeline to power. Meanwhile, state universities, once the bastion of affordable education, are hiking prices because state legislatures have slashed public funding. In the 1970s, public funding accounted for over 75% of college budgets. Today, it's often less than 25%. That shortfall gets passed to students. Now zoom out. This crisis isn't just personal, it's national. When student debt climbs, homeownership rates fall. Young people rent longer. They delay marriage. They have fewer children. They don't start businesses. Entrepreneurship dips. Economic mobility freezes. The consequences ripple through every sector of the economy, from housing to healthcare to retirement. And the government? It's both arsonist and firefighter. Federal loans fund the system, but they also trap borrowers. Loan forgiveness plans are tangled in bureaucracy and politics. Millions qualify, yet few receive actual relief. And the patchwork of solutions, income-driven repayment, forgiveness for public service, temporary moratoriums, are band-aids on a hemorrhaging wound. But there are bright spots. Some community colleges are pioneering debt-free models. States like Oregon and Tennessee have launched tuition-free programs for in-state students. Some companies, including Target, Walmart, and Amazon, now offer free college as part of employee benefits. These aren't solutions for everyone, but they hint at a future where education is treated not as a luxury good, but as a public right. Still, the road to reform is steep. The student loan industry is massive. Servicers make billions in interest. Colleges rely on tuition revenue. Lobbyists defend the status quo. Disruption will require more than goodwill. It will require a cultural shift. And it starts with telling the truth. That college is broken. That it works for some, but fails many. That it's become a system that too often transfers wealth from the poor to the rich under the guise of opportunity. That we need to stop measuring intelligence by degrees and start measuring it by impact, by effort, by creativity, by skill. That we need to stop glorifying institutions and start empowering individuals. Because education should not bankrupt families. Because a degree should not feel like a prison sentence. Because a generation saddled with debt is a nation shackled to the past. So what do? We start with transparency. Require colleges to publish clear ROI metrics, how much students earn after graduation versus how much they owe. We expand access to trade schools and apprenticeships. We unshackle federal aid from traditional degrees, allowing funding to flow to coding boot camps, short-term credentialing programs, and online upskilling platforms. We rethink accreditation, pricing models, and delivery methods. And above all, we talk to the next generation honestly. We tell them, you don't need a degree to be smart. You don't need debt to be successful. You don't need permission to build a life of meaning. Because the true value of education isn't in the diploma. It's in the doors it opens. And right now, those doors are locked behind a paywall. So what do you do if you're a student staring down the barrel of $100,000 in college costs? What if you're a parent, terrified about your child being saddled with a lifetime of debt? The first tip? Break the myth. College isn't your only ticket to success, and it never was. Don't let glossy brochures or pressure from teachers and peers convince you that a 4-year university is the only path forward. Many careers, plumbing, electrical work, coding, digital marketing, real estate, offer stability and growth without requiring a traditional degree. Second, shop smart. Community college isn't a downgrade, it's a smart launchpad. Starting your education at a community college and transferring later can cut your cost by half or more. Plus, smaller class sizes, local faculty, and flexible schedules often mean students thrive academically and emotionally. Third, research return on investment. Before you choose a major, ask the hard questions. What's the average salary in this field? What's the employment rate after graduation? Use tools like college scorecard or pay scale to evaluate the long-term payoff of your degree. Don't go $100K in debt for a $35K career. Fourth, learn about financial aid. Not just loans. Grants, scholarships, and work-study programs are out there, but they're underutilized. A shocking number of students leave free money on the table every year. Start early. Apply widely. Treat the financial aid process like a full-time job. Fifth, explore alternatives. There's a new generation of educational platforms. Google Career Certificates, IBM Skills Build, Meta programs, coding boot camps, and accredited online programs that cost a fraction of college tuition but still lead to well-paying jobs. If the system won't change fast enough, go where the innovation is. Finally, consider your values. This isn't just about money. It's about your time, your goals, your mental health, your freedom. Ask yourself, what kind of life do I want? And what path gets me there with the least regret? Now, let's bring it up to the present moment. States like Florida and Texas are scaling back public university funding. The result? Higher tuition, more fees, and students once again caught in the squeeze. Meanwhile, colleges are struggling to justify their costs. Enrollment is down. A wave of universities are merging, cutting programs, or shuttering entirely. The pandemic didn't just shake the system, it exposed its fragility. The public has noticed. Confidence in higher education is at an all-time low, with fewer than half of Americans believing a 4-year degree is worth the cost. But perhaps the most seismic shift? Employers are finally waking up. A 2025 LinkedIn study showed that nearly 70% of hiring managers now prioritize skills over degrees. That's a tidal shift. Major companies, including Google, Apple, Tesla, and IBM, are rethinking the degree requirement altogether. In response, platforms like Coursera, Udemy, and edX are partnering with top universities to offer affordable, flexible alternatives. The wall is cracking, the monopoly is fading, but the clock is ticking. So where does that leave us? In a country where a piece of paper can cost more than a house. In a system where dreams are bought on credit. Where the ladder to success has been roped off, unless you're willing to mortgage your future. But here's the truth that no college recruiter, no financial aid officer, no debt collection agency will tell you. You have more power than you think. The system is broken, yes, but you don't have to break with it. You can opt out. You can choose differently. You can pursue education in a way that doesn't ruin your financial life, because education, in its truest form, was never meant to be a business. It was meant to be a light. We need a revolution in how we think about success. One that doesn't equate prestige with debt. One that values skill, passion, grit, and doesn't punish curiosity with compound interest. And it starts with awareness. With stories like Jasmine's, with people demanding better. If you've made it this far in the video, maybe you're one of them. Maybe you're a student unsure of your future, a parent unsure how to help, or someone deep in debt wondering if there's a way out. There is. Ask the hard questions. Make the bold choices. And never forget, your future is not defined by how much you owe, but by how much you know. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I really appreciate you watching. If you found this useful, a like would be fantastic, and subscribing helps me keep creating content you'll hopefully enjoy. Please share your experiences and any questions in the comments. I always try to read and respond. Your support keeps this channel going. Until our next video, take care.